Hi, today I'm at the prop of Ythsie and the plan is to walk up the hill and do a sneaky bivvy camp on top of the tower. Now the weather forecast is for snow and temperatures dropping down to -4°C, so it could be a bit of a challenge. Also, not quite sure how I'm going to get myself waterproof and covered at the top of the tower, so I've got a few ideas and I'll show you when I get there. So I'll get my ass up the hill and I'll see you at the tower. This is the prop of Ythsie. It was built to commemorate the life of George Hamilton Gordon. George Hamilton Gordon was born into a wealthy family of minor nobility. He went to Harrow and then went on to Cambridge University and started his career as a diplomat. Then he became a politician, and probably the peak of his career was when he was appointed Prime Minister of Great Britain. He was the Prime Minister who was responsible for Britain's involvement in the Opium Wars and the seizing of Hong Kong, and he was also the Prime Minister who led Britain into the Crimean War. That debacle led to him resigning as Prime Minister and stepping down as a politician. Now, aside from that, he was Lord of Haddo. He was the local laird round here. He inherited that from his father, and when his grandfather died, he became Earl of Aberdeen, the 4th Earl of Aberdeen. Now, as a laird, he was much loved round here. He inherited the local estate and Haddo House from his father in a poor state of affairs, and he went on to pay off all its debts and invested a large amount of time and energy into modernising and rebuilding the estate. And for this, the tenants loved him. Now, on his death in 1860, the tenants and the local people around here spent a year raising money to build a monument to his name, and in 1861 they started building the prop. It took them a year and it was left for the public's use. Now, it's built of granite, local granite. It's 85 feet high and there are 91 steps via a spiral staircase to the parapets at the top. So with all that being said, I think it's time for me to go into the tower and scare the birds out and see if I can wild camp on the top of it. So let's go. Well, that's me at the top. Stairs got me puffing and blowing a bit, but I'm here. It looks like I've got just enough space to sleep, and I've got a kind of cunning idea of how I'm going to make myself a shelter. I was aware I wouldn't have anywhere to peg things down, so a tarp or a tent really weren't going to work. I brought with me a big fishing umbrella, and I'm planning on attaching it to these railings with some bungees. Now, I'm going to leave that until it goes dark or just gets dark, because I don't want to get caught sleeping up here. Now, I'm not breaking any laws, not that I'm aware of, but I don't think the local estate, Haddo Estate, who still own the property, would be that keen on me sleeping up here. So I'm going to try and keep it as low key as I can, and when I set up, I'll switch the camera back on so you can see me setting up. It's just before 4 o'clock now, and as you can see, the light is pretty much gone. It's just dropping below the horizon now, and I've had a change of plan. Yeah, no, I'm not quitting, of course I'm not. But the brolly just wasn't going to work. It was a nice idea, but the breeze has started to pick up, and I have a feeling if it got anything more than a light breeze, I'd end up losing the brolly in the middle of the night. I could be doing without that. So thankfully I brought along an old tarpaulin, and it is an old tarpaulin. It's not a camping tarp, it's a thing I used to cover my motorbike with. but I think it'll do the job. It's the smallest tarp I'd got. I don't even know what it is. It's about 1.5 meters by 1 meter, and I've strung it up with some paracord and a couple of bungees, and I'll turn the camera around and let you have a look. Yeah, so not perfect coverage, but I am in a Gore-Tex bivvy bag, and you know, if it really starts to chuck it down in the night, I'll just have to kind of hunker up in the middle and ride the storm out, but I reckon it'll be all right. And I've got a couple of clear corners that I can do my cooking in, and yeah, should all be good. We will see, and worst comes to worst, I'll just retreat down the tower and I'll just have to hunker in at the very bottom of the tower behind the door, but I don't think it'll come to that. So I think I'll wait till it gets completely dark and I'll get some food on. So I'll see you in a minute. Well, as predicted, it has started to snow, and I don't think my tarp's going to be enough coverage, so I think I'm going to have to move this corner kind of that way and maybe tie it to all of my kit and something to hold it down a little bit. It's going to be a bit cobbled together, but hey. But before then, I need to eat something, and tonight I've got Korean hot and spicy noodles augmented with sliced up pepperonis, and I've got a rum and coke to go afterwards, and some chocky biscuits. So today's weapon of choice is the fire maple jet boil. I'm not too worried about noise up here. I'm pretty much kind of up in the air above most of the places, and also the meths burner don't work so well in the sub-zero temperatures. So let's get some food on the go, and when it's done I'll get back to you. There we go, spicy noodles done in my Korean noodle bowl, and that's the stuff, and by God do I need it, because it is freezing cold. I mean, temperature has dropped, sun's been down about an hour, so it's only like, what is it, 5 o'clock-ish, and it's bloody freezing. I mean, it's way below zero. It's already in the negatives. I've had a flurry of snow, and thankfully that's stopped. Let's put that down. I've pulled that corner down and I've anchored it to my Bergen. Hopefully the wind doesn't get up or that'll flow away, but fingers crossed all's good. And yeah, I've got a night lapse on. Looks like might get a clear sky, but my God, it is cold. So bivvy bag, OEX Leviathan 4-5 season bag, and a foam mat, which probably isn't quite up to the job, but you know, it's all I've got with me today. And some windstopper fleece trousers and top on, and hopefully and a downy jacket, and hopefully that'll all be good. So I'm gonna get some scran, and unless something happens in the night, and if it does, I'll switch on my infrared camera so I don't have to put the light on, because I'm like a lighthouse currently with this thing on. If anything happens in the night, I'll see you, but if not, I'll see you in the morning. Okay, I'm trying to keep this as quiet as I can because I don't want to be overheard, but it's pitch black, it's the middle of the night, and there's somebody walking their dog around the tower. I thought I was imagining it, but I've just peered over the edge, and there's definitely somebody walking their dog with the torch in the middle of the night round the tower. Thankfully, they're now walking back down the hill, and for a minute I thought they were going to come up. But what the fuck is people walking their dog in the middle of the night on the top of an hill with a torch? It's almost as weird as, well, sleeping on top of a tower. But hey, there you go. I don't know. God, that gave me the fright of my life.
Good morning. Well, that was a cold night, but thankfully my bag and my beer bag kept me nice and warm, and putting the hand warmers inside the bag was a great idea. It worked really well. Well, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. It's still pitch black. I'm going to get myself a brew and something to eat, and I'm going to strike camp and get out of here, and hopefully it'll just be getting light by the time I get back to the van.
Well, that's me back at the van. It's 7:15 and the sun, as you can just see behind me, is just coming up. So the van's all frozen up, so I'll get that all scraped off and I'll head off home. Well, that's me home and in the warm with a cup of tea. And I can tell you now a couple of things about the trip that I didn't mention earlier in the video. Temperature dropped down to -6 overnight, and because of that, some things worked and some things didn't. Well, firstly, the old fire maple, which I was waxing lyrical about in the video, no, it didn't like the cold. Something in there, it hasn't got a compensator valve, I think, and when the temperature dropped and the pressure in the canister dropped, this thing really wasn't working very well, and I ended up having to hold my hands around the cylinder to warm it up to get it to run. So I need to think of something different for the sub-zero temperatures. I've got a mountaineering stove which has definitely got a compensator valve. I'll probably have to use that. But on a positive note, these things, these are, oh, that way up, little Hotties hand warmers. You know the type, you take them out and shake them up and they're full of chemical powders that get hot. I stuck 2 of these in the bottom of my sleeping bag, and I stuck a couple in my jacket pockets, and I was toasty all night. I think that actually is the solution to raising the temperature very slightly in your sleeping bag. It worked really well, and I mean, I bought them on Amazon. I put a link in the description. Yeah, really good. I'll be doing that every winter night, I think. Now, the tower, I mentioned the tower is owned by the Haddo Estate. It's owned by the Haddo Estate, but it's actually leased to Aberdeenshire Council, and because of that, it's open to the public year-round. Anybody can go there, so I'll put the link in the description to that, and I'll put the 3 words location for the car park and the tower. So if you want to go there yourself, you're free to do so. Whether you can camp there or not, I'm not sure, but you can certainly go and visit it. Well, I hope that was helpful. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a thumbs up and a comment. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you click the red subscribe button. It boosts the channel and helps the algorithm find me and promote it to other people. So that's me. So until the next one, I'll say ta-da. Ta-da a bit. Ta-da.